You've landed at the 13 Moons Women's Temple podcast with your hosts, Sam and Leela.
Hello, beautiful people. Here we are. It's Monday. We're coming live for the Moon Diaries report for this week. I hope you're all well. Sam and I are in retreat prep mode as we get ready for our 6-day Kundalini Yoga retreat next week. And yeah, it's a very, very cool time over here in the 13 Moons world. We'll be seeing a number of you for the whole of the week next week, and that's very exciting. Wow, Sam is here already. That is so cool and fast. Hi, good evening, Elizabeth. It's nice to see you. I think this is like our best broadcast time. We seem to have like lots of people here at this time of the night, which is so cool. Hello.
That was good. I feel good.
Yay.
I feel like so excited that I figured out how to do it. Good.
Okay, all right. God, I feel like we have just been with each other all day.
I know. There's lots of happening here. It's good. It's a Capricorn week for us.
It really is.
Yeah, it's good. So let's jump into it. We're sorry everyone that we're a little bit later today, but we've been prepping for our retreat next week, and actually we have kind of got into the rhythm of doing this in the evening, so it's quite nice. We'll jump on and do a nice power session for half an hour, which hopefully some of you can listen to now or maybe catch up with later. So before we start, let's just take a breath. I feel like I really need to take a couple, but let's just take a good. Maybe we'll just inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the mouth, suck it in like a straw. Exhale nose. Maybe nose, inhale nose. Sigh it out. Suck the breath in. And exhale nose. And then just take the arms and stretch nice and wide. Just really reach and open through your chest into your vagus nerve. Smile, look up with the eyes. And then come back. Oh, that feels nice and cruisy.
Much better.
Good. So good. This is like yoga in action. Yoga.
Yes, that's how you do it.
That's right.
Okay, all right. So we're going to deliver this report to you in the next 30 minutes, and then I'll have people knocking at my door to come and do yoga. And that's going to be excellent. Good evening. Hello, everyone that's joining. So nice to have you here with us. So the Moon Diaries for the week beginning Monday, July 11th. If anyone can tell us, perhaps in the notes or later, we read that it's a 7-Eleven portal, and we couldn't quite find out exactly why. So if you know why it's a 7-Eleven portal that has nothing to do with the garage station, the 7-Eleven shop or the 7-Eleven Slurpees, then let us know, because that's today, and we just couldn't figure that out. But aside from that, let's start with the moon returns and the moon birthdays. If you have a moon in Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius or Pisces, you're having a moon birthday this week. So very many happy moon return blessings to you for this week.
It's interesting, just, on the, that 7-11, obviously the 7 is from July. So 7 in tantric numerology is the platform of elevation, so very elevating time. And then the 11 is that embodiment number, which is nice because we're in a Sagittarius moon. So they are quite Sagittarius numbers in that sense of the teacher and the seeker, the embodiment, definitely very spiritual component. And that's the moon that we're in today. So we've already been in that moon all day long, and we're here until tomorrow, early afternoon. So I feel like if we can just feel into that, how you've been feeling today, perhaps you have actually been feeling a capacity to elevate yourself or elevate someone else. And if I think back to our day today, we've had quite an elevating day. It's been hard, but we had some very deep conversations, and we elevated each other into a space where we were able to do the work we needed to do. So and we were doing spiritual work, so it kind of was very aligned with that energy, actually. Just sort of think. So it'd be interesting, maybe you've had that experience today too, or have noticed maybe you've been craving some elevation, you haven't received it, or maybe you've just been feeling a sense of embodiment. I definitely feel that's what happened for us. Some things came together today, and that I did have that sort of that feeling of things coming together in a state of embodiment, of everything suddenly going, we can add this and this and this, and that makes this. Yeah, so that's a nice thing to think about. And Sagittarian energy is nice energy. She says.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, you are. But it's the adventurer, it's the wanderer, it's the eternal pondering, that seeking answers to questions that you don't even have a question for yet. It's that really wonderful exploration of either the material world or the mental worlds, or exploring realms that are yet to be discovered.
I think as well, one of the things that came to me as you were saying that is that philosophical inquiry. That's a very Sagittarius energy, and that was certainly what I have been feeling today. That kind of desire to just, I was thinking that earlier we sounded like philosophers earlier when we were going through stuff. It was I thought, wow, this is very interesting. It's kind of like, we're sort of philosophizing how yoga is progressing. And so it might be that within your own world, you've been experiencing that. And so that's the energy we're in today. Apart from that, today, there's not a lot happening astrologically. So it's just to really sit with how you've been feeling on today. And today's a moon day, so some of you might just be feeling, tired and like snuggling up. And of course, we're still in this winter energy, and it's really okay to just want to sleep right now. So again, it's really important, even though we're in a week of a full moon, to remember that we are not in the time of the year that is the full moon. So we're actually, right there in the hibernation time. And so it's a good time to just enjoy those quiet moments if you can. And then tomorrow we go into a Mars day. Mars is one of those days that I always really struggle with. I just can never remember Mars days, but tomorrow is a Mars day. I still can't remember what Mars means. Why? I forget it every week. What's Mars about?
Mars is about taking action. Tuesday would be a good start to the weekday rather than Monday. Because Mars is, a
constant denial about Tuesday.
Yes. Well, I mean, if you've been burning the candle at both ends, and you had a massive week, and then you had a big weekend, and you partied, and then you had to drag your ass into work on Monday, you get the Tuesday blues. And Tuesday is like, I just don't want to, because we're just so susceptible at burning the candle at both ends. But really, if we were able to rest on a Monday, if we were just able to follow, we say this every week, if we were able to just to follow the energy of the moon, we would just be so sorted. But tomorrow, so you'll wake up tomorrow morning, the moon will still be in Sagittarius, and then we have a long void of course from 7:45 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So that just means that that's the space where the moon is transitioning from Sagittarius to Capricorn. It doesn't actually sit in either sign, so it's just void of the influence of the zodiac. And it's in that time that well, I'm planning on using that time to kind of bend space and time to get a lot done tomorrow, because there's a lot to do. But it could also be a time where you might feel a little bit overwhelmed or a bit displaced, and you might just want to, really just nurture yourself and take care of yourself. And that is the majority of the day until the moon then moves into Capricorn at 7 p.m. Tomorrow night. And this is sort of kicking off the major aspects and the major theme of this week, which is which is the super moon in Capricorn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, exactly as Leela was just saying, tomorrow is a great day to, if you feel like you have the energy, and it's a Mars day, so it might be a good action day for you, is just to finish those action points that you want to get finished before the full moon. So before you actually decide, I'm not going to do some of these things, just actually tick off the things you do want to do. So particularly pay attention if they're just exactly as we're going to be doing. Our deadline is the Wednesday, so it's actually perfect. We did really well.
It's like we planned it like that.
So it's have a look at what deadlines you have created for yourself and that you want to bring into fruition over these next couple of days, and then just use this time to action them. And the void, of course, I think is a great time to try, or to bend time. Like, actually, it could just feel like we've got a bigger stretch. And that there is a bit more time available to us, because you probably won't be as distracted. That's what's great about a void, of course. We kind of become distractionless. So it can mean that you just drop, oh, I'm just so tired, everything's fallen away. Or it can just be that you actually experience that kind of state of stillness, calm. So you could almost imagine this like when the ocean goes suddenly very calm. And that's that void, of course. So we go into that for a bit before we have the fluctuation coming of Capricorn and the energy she's bringing with the full moon.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Good.
So that's Tuesday. Wednesday.
Yes. So Wednesday is the big day that the moon is in Capricorn. It won't actually go full until early hours Thursday morning, but we'll be really starting to feel the effects of this moon. So a full moon is the time where you want to look at what it is that the intentions that you created at the beginning of this moon cycle, but also particularly if you remember, this moon cycle was about recommitting to the things that you've left behind from this whole sort of year. So really this full moon is a massive opportunity for you to get very, very realistic about what it is that you are, what you've been calling in, but what you haven't been able to call in, and what you really are really ready to surrender, and surrender it for good. Like it's an ultimate release point. So that's going to be, you'll hopefully be starting to feel into that. And like Sam said, go back to the intentions, go back to your journal, go back into that reflective point and within yourself, and look at get really real with yourself. What is it that is just really not working out for you? And
I think it's important to know Wednesday. So thinking about Wednesday before we get to Thursday, Wednesday is that Mercury day. So just bear in mind how that is as you come into Capricorn in relation to your relationships or your communications, and just what communications you're getting. So it might be that maybe you feel a bit frustrated because some things haven't gone your way. And this can be something that could come up in this sort of Capricorn energy. Like ambition is a big thing that comes up with Capricorn. So this desire to have achieved something, to being quite ruthless in what it is that you want to achieve. If that hasn't actually happened for you, just bear in mind how you're communicating that with others. Or it might be that you're celebrating because you've actually achieved everything you wanted to. And that too might be a point where you're going to communicate that as well. But just think about those communications. So Wednesday, actually, because we've got the energy of the full moon sort of really reaching that fruition point on Thursday, Wednesday is going to be a really good day. If, say, for example, you really want to seal a deal, then I think sending the email in the early hour or sort of the morning of Wednesday is going to be a really good time to do that. I think that's going to be, you know how we talk about for women, our point of ovulation is a point where we are actually irresistible, and there is nothing that we can't achieve. Well, that's what a full moon is. So if as well, just pay attention to what your cycle is doing. So it might be that you are someone that cycles in a way that means that you are ovulating at this time, and you'll know that because you'll be feeling, you know, a state of absolute wellness, and you'll be feeling all sparkly and really full of shine and health, and you'll feel quite you will be being very attractive to others. So really you're irresistible at this time, but we can harness this within our own menstrual cycle and by the energy of the moon. So as a woman, we can really harness these irresistible energies just at those points before the full moon. These are great times to really ask what we want. But just bear in mind that sometimes that Capricorn energy can be a little bit ruthless. So maybe just be kind as you do it.
A couple of deep breaths before you go shooting from the hips. Yeah.
And I like and I think moving as we move into Thursday, and obviously we'll go to bed, and we're fortunate we've got a full moon circle on Wednesday evening, so that's nice. So we'll be right in that preparatory energy for the full moon, and we'll be able to really use that for some really good manifestations. So that Wednesday night is going to be a great night for manifestation, because it's just that point before, which often we don't have as much of that, but we can literally do some manifestation work and then go to bed and sleep on that, which is awesome because we could also have an orgasm. So that's great. I mean, you can have time of the day, but sometimes it's more convenient at night. And that'll really bring that. So that's good.
Yeah. And if you're really lucky, you can have an orgasm in your dream.
Yeah. And that would be really good as your dream wanting to bring into fruition. But so as we come into Thursday, did you want to say anything else about Wednesday?
No, that's good. That comes.
Thursday is that Jupiter day and that day of expansion. And so we've got that 4 o'clock in the morning full moon. So everything will be fully amplified. We don't come into, we don't shift the signs into Aquarius until later in the afternoon. So we stay in that Capricorn full moon energy, and Jupiter is going to really bring in that power of expansion. This is going to be a really important morning to really just notice where you've let your head overtake your heart. So just really noticing, where am I overthinking? Where am I maybe over analyzing? And can I drop back into my heart energy and just notice where I can find that expansion from there, rather than a kind of expansion from here? Because that mind explosion may not actually get what you want. It might get you what you think you want, but ultimately that could just be because you're being led astray by, I don't know, some ego stuff potentially.
Well, a great way to do this is, if you're projecting from the mind, you've only got, you know, half of your engine powering your intentions, because it's only coming from the mind. If you can take those intentions and drop them back down to the heart space, you then have heart frequency and mind frequency. It's kind of like a supercharger sending out those intentions. And more likely than not, when you can do it like that, it's going to manifest for your highest good, or in a way that is for your highest good. And what's really cool about this is the moon then will have moved into Aquarius. Aquarius is that futuristic, unusual, not of this time, not of this place energy. And so the way that you're going to start to be delivered the way forwards may come in a way that you maybe can't recognize fully, or can't actually completely understand why this is the opportunity that you've been given. And that's the magic of Aquarius. And it's really about being able to then drop into trust, drop into the heart, and go, okay, this isn't what I was expecting, but this is the way that we can move forwards.
And there are a number of aspects around the full moon, and if you're following a number of astrologers, they'll talk you through some of these aspects that are occurring. There is a Sun conjunct Mercury and conjunct Ceres aspect that's occurring on this full moon, which can just mean that we can find ourselves perhaps feeling a little bit touchy about things, feeling like there might be some miscommunication, feeling a bit of hurt around different aspects, particularly around family, around home, around potentially feminine aspects. And one of the things that came to us was, and a word that Leela was using earlier, which I really liked, is this full moon is a little bit about us taking accountability. So we are going to need to sit during this full moon, and certainly during the void of course that comes, fortunately for us. We have a nice long void of course in the afternoon between 2 and 6. So during that void of course in the afternoon on Thursday, where we're just probably going to get a little bit of stillness before we come into the Aquarius energy, it'd be quite important to just sit with the accountability. And one of the things that we were saying was that, you know, right now there's a lot, you can see a lot happening around on a global scale, and certainly economically around Australia, where we can see that the cost of living is going up. There have been various different implications through COVID, through natural disasters, that are meaning that we may have found ourselves living slightly outside of our means. Now is the time for us to actually take accountability for what we actually need, what actually brings us joy, and how we can come back into a state of harmony with living in a way that is in harmony. That makes sense. I didn't explain that very well, but ultimately we've got to come back to that. And there's been a lot with them, there's a lot of Taurus energy coming through, where we know that we're going to be called to really pay attention to the land, to pay attention to what's happening. And we're seeing this with all the floods that have just been occurring down in Sydney again. We really can't just trust that our resources are just going to always be there for us. So we actually have to start being accountable for ourselves and our own resources, which is really heavy.
Yeah, it's massive. You might need to find your own drinking water when you've never had to do that. You might, you know, you're going to need to find alternatives to fresh fruit and vegetables, because I mean, who's paying $15 a kilo for tomatoes? That sort of thing. And it's only going to get worse. Like we're driving less because the price of petrol is over $2 a litre, and that's only going to get more expensive because we're still receiving the government subsidy on that. Like holidaying, we were planning to go to the snow in August, and we have just had to decide the cost of traveling at this time right now means that we will not be able to take that holiday. Like we would love to, and the kids don't know yet, so they're going to be actually devastated. But we actually have to make some really mature decisions about our reality right now, and that's a very Capricornian aspect. Is, you know, to make your way to the top of the mountain, you have to actually start to make some grown-up decisions and draw on some wisdom that is either yours or not yours, to make some hard choices. That means you're going to be able to navigate this part of the pathway. And yeah, it's very, we're living in very very challenging and interesting times.
And I think if we just, you know, moving towards the end of the week, there are quite a lot of aspects that can mean that we can be feeling quite emotional with this. I was saying to Leela that earlier I was talking about some of the stuff we're putting into the manual, but also just some of the astrological aspects with my husband. And I found myself sort of saying, you know, saying to him, well, ultimately, I just really love to be at home and garden more. And even as I said those words, I found myself getting emotional, like the emotion that came up. And even just thinking that, it was almost like, and then I thought, well, I'm not even very good at gardening. So, you know, the pressure, how would I actually make that happen? And the point is, it's actually in that, what occurred to me as Leela was talking was, for me, it's that there are a number of people around this community that I live in that are already producing really great vegetables, and it's about me finding them. And there's actually, as we talked about a few of these Moon Diaries ago, we actually have this thing where you can take any produce you have left over and share it amongst each other. And the point is, there are people that are willing to teach this. There are vegetable schemes in the local area of people who are actually trying to find better priced vegetables by locally, you know, local producers. And so it is about us making the time to do that. That there is accountability. That there is supporting local and working out how to use our financial means that we currently have to better help and sustain the area in which we live, thereby creating mutual abundance. And that's what we have to start working on moving into the Aquarian age. So if anything, you know, that's it, because I have other skills.
You do. You're the village witch.
That will be helpful in the new earth. I'll keep working on them. But anyway,
I think
go on.
Oh, well, I'm just conscious of time, but we will actually really be covering this in a lot more detail in the Moon Circle on Wednesday evening, because this is massive. This is not something you can just, you know, do this week. You know, this is going to, we're all at very pivotal crossroads, and
yeah.
We all are, whether you recognize that or not, we are all collectively at a massive junction in the road, and we are the only ones that are going to be able to change direction. And if we don't, well, I'm not too sure what that future looks like. So
I'll just read this quote from Forever Consciousness, because I do like it. I really think it sums up this full moon in a nice way, and we can touch on this more at the Moon Circle. But she said, the sea goat teaches us to honor all that we are, to appreciate different perspectives, and to focus our time and energy on what we truly want out of life. And I think it's having the accountability to be realistic about that, which realistic in terms of not only for ourselves, but for future generations, and, you know, for humanity as well as for the planet. So anyway, I think that's great. So moving on to the rest of the week. Friday, it's a Venus day. We have Venus day. What did we say about this? I think because we're in Venus.
So the moon.
Sorry.
Yeah, so the moon is in the moon is in Aquarius on Venus day, and there is a quintux, Venus quintux Pluto. And what this means, so there's a relationship between Venus and Pluto. And this is going to bring up this elements or dynamics where we can be lacking trust, where we can feel like there are power struggles, and where this might manifest also slipping into the shadow aspect of the feminine. So where we go back into that criticism of another woman, judging of another woman, needing to put another woman down to make ourselves feel better, feeling like we're in a power struggle. There is no power struggle between women or anybody, but these aspects might come through. They might come through on Friday with the astrology there. So just be aware of that. Typically Friday being a Venus day, we sort of say, you know, live it up and party and put on your lipstick and dress up and all of that stuff. And definitely do that. If you wake up feeling quite dark and shadowy and not great, a great thing to do is paint your nails, paint your toenails, put on some lip gloss, and just do that, and go and do the gardening.
Do the garden.
Get dressed up to go to the garden.
I like it. Absolutely. And then yeah, and then the weekend really has potential to be quite sensitive, quite emotional. We're going to have the Aquarius energy that's going to take us through this Friday into Saturday, and then we're going to move into Pisces. So really we want to be thinking, I think, just be careful about your use of social media, how you might be heavily influenced by artificial intelligence, all those bots, basically taking your attention from one place to another, distracting you, the news, all those things that can actually be actually stuff that can be very distracting, which we're using all the time, this technology. Rather than getting stuck in that, I really liked, we were talking about how what we want to be doing is making the most of dreaming about where we want to get to in the future, how we see that we can live a more joyful, peaceful, fulfilled life. And then using the Aquarius energy to see that futuristic aspect of it. And then also using the Pisces energy to really encompass the dream state aspect of that. So it's in the dream state, the dreaming. And in order to be in a state of dreaming, everything needs to slow down. So after you put your lipstick on, exactly as Leela said, go out into the garden, sit underneath well, there are quite a lot of solar flares this week, so sit underneath the sun for a bit, allow yourself to receive the downloads of the Aquarius solar flares, and then allow that Pisces energy to take you into a dream state. And as you let go of those things that you've needed to let go of in the full moon, begin that process as we go and start to head into a slower movement into this next phase of the month by dreaming.
Magic. And then Sunday is a great day to take a bath.
Yes.
And I think we already have a Pisces bath ritual on our website, but if we don't, we'll make sure that we get one up.
I was thinking of putting something up for the full moon, actually, a Capricorn. I'm going to come up with something that we can do for Capricorn. I'm feeling like I might encourage you to do some kind of garden thing. We might have a garden thing. I don't know why.
All right. I can't wait to see what that's going to look like.
We'll have something a bit different. We'll get a bath up. There'll be a bath of some description, but maybe something else. That'll be good for the sea goat.
Maybe like we can all dig ponds. We can make like a little, we can make a pond.
Bird bath.
I can see it coming now. It's going to be exciting. All right. Lovely. How exciting. How good. Well, happy moon blessings, everybody.
Yes. And let's just finish the way we started. Just take a moment. Just feel into your body. Take a breath into your nose. Sigh it out. Gently suck the breath in. And breathe out through your nose. And just go with our love and with our blessing. And enjoy the rest of this beautiful Sagittarian moon. And we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for taking the time to be with us on this podcast episode. These are sound bites and conversations about things we think are important to support the collective ascension towards more love, acceptance, hope, and harmony on the planet Earth. Together we can continue to support each other through conversations that need to be held. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do share it with your people. We would love it if you subscribe to our channel and even rate the podcast if you feel called to. You can also find us and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube and Spotify just by searching the 13 Moons Women's Temple.